Yo, yo, yo. How is everyone doing? Right. Money, Momo, Alhendi, Trading Pup, Poop Lover, Halloween, Basil. How are you doing, guys? Finally, some Bitcoin action, right? Pretty boring day today. Finally breaking out. Right, so let's start. We have 80 viewers, nice. So first of all, please all like the video. Okay, that takes 1 second. Second of all, we have a sponsor for this video. I'm sure you heard of them already, but they're PrimeXBT, an online exchange. Okay, a lovely exchange where you can trade all kinds of markets, forex, crypto, indices and commodities. All right, with a single Bitcoin based account. I have 2 promo codes for you guys, one for a 50% deposit bonus and the other one is for a reduction on your trading fees. Okay, so make sure you check those guys out. Big thanks to the team. Right, so let's take a look at Bitcoin first. Right, so like I said, pretty boring day, but finally we broke out. Okay, I'm still in my long, but yeah, I'll explain why and what I'm watching later. First of all, so let's take a look at what we had over the last few days, right? So we came down after this downside here, and I was watching this range. Okay, key high, pretty nice downside. So this key low as a range low, and then the mid range was lining up with, if you zoom out on the 4 hour, clean demand. Okay, so if we draw a box there, so demand, what is demand? Sideways price action before a move higher. Okay, telling us that people were accumulating longs in this region. Okay, so whenever price comes down into that area again, you can expect it to act as support. Okay, so that nice confluence around these levels. So we bounced here. Let's remove all of these for now. Nice bounce. Okay, upside in one leg. What was the first high after this low? That was this one. Okay, let's also mark out the low quickly. And then I posted a scenario, which was, let me look for it real quick, which was this one, right, in the Discord. So I said I wanted to see some downside here. We had a clean low right here. And I said I wanted to see a sweep of the low into demand with nice confluence of OTE, and which also lines up with this key low right here. Okay, so we swept or deviated below this low, reclaim. Okay, if we saw a sweep of this clean low into all of the confluence around these levels, okay, so 32.2k area that I was gonna look for longs. So that's what I did. Price came down there, here, and then I longed. Okay, I was expecting continuation from here, but instead we came back down. I held my longs overnight. We came back down again, swept Tuesday low. And then yeah, today we had this ugly price action here in a very tight range, and we finally broke out. So I mean, I wouldn't fade this until we sweep some key liquidity to the upside, which is gonna be this key high. Okay, so that's the first key high that you want to be watching. So let's go over to the Bybit chart and show you my position. So I longed, I was long from here already. Okay, held all the way through, stops below this demand and OTE area. And so yeah, we're finally getting some movement. My first take profit is this key high, and my second take profit was this high into supply all the way up here. Okay, so whatever you want to be doing when price is ranging like it did today, let's remove everything, is simply, yeah, remove all of your technical analysis on the chart, okay, and start clean. Start on the daily and mark out key highs and lows, okay? So first of all, mark out Monday high, Monday low, okay? Mark them. Monday low. Monday high. And then we can see we made an inside bar between Monday high and Monday low, and also between Tuesday high and Tuesday low. So let's also mark out those key highs, key high and low, sorry. So Tuesday high and Tuesday low. Right, so mark out those levels, and then you zoom in, go to the 4 hour, and then you will already have much better picture of where the price is trading. Okay, so what you can see is we have an unswept Monday low, unswept Monday high. So that means liquidity wise, they're equal. Okay, Tuesday high is unswept and Tuesday low was swept. Okay, the scenario that I marked, the downside and sweeping this low, just adds confluence to the idea of these basic highs and lows, that the drawn liquidity is to the upside. So that's why I also held on to my long when we came down here. The invalidation was clear. We swept Tuesday low, and that even added more confluence and more probability to the idea that the next draw on liquidity was to the upside, okay? Simply because we have an unswept high Tuesday high above and Monday high, okay? So what I think we're going to see next is upside at least towards Tuesday high. And if we take a look at some key levels, you can see the weekly open lines up almost perfectly. So Monday high lines up almost perfectly to the weekly open. Okay, so I think that's next. And then if you're looking for shorts, or at least for a hedge, around these levels will be the levels where I would be looking for those. So first scenario, we see upside, sweep Tuesday high into Monday high, weekly open, reject, come back down here and break below some key levels. Then that wouldn't be a good sign. Then the next draw would definitely be on this low and on Monday low. Okay, if we see some more upside towards the weekly open, reclaim the weekly open into and pump into this supply. Okay, I mean that's simply the last supply, the last resistance for bears to defend before new highs, in my opinion. If we're above here, we're at least going for last week's high, but then I don't think we'll sweep and dump, but then I think we go for new highs. So at these levels, risk reward for bears is just huge. So if you see a pump in here and funding is spiking again, and premium is spiking again, telling us that perps are leading, I will definitely look for a short here, okay? And then, yeah, trade it back towards some kilos. We'll have some more data then, but then we'll have some kilos all the way down towards Monday low. So yeah, that's pretty much all I'm watching right now. I'm still fully in my long. I have a half TP at Tuesday high, which I think is going to hit soon, but let's see. And then also planning on fully closing the rest at the weekly open Monday high and this key high right here into supply up here. So is that a little clear for everyone? Yo, first time here. What's up? Hi. Mr. Washington, done my duty, sir. Thanks, bro. Show me your color team. So this green, this red, and background the second black one. Clear view on the chart, bro. Clear, thanks. Yes, brilliant, thanks. All right, perfect. Where did you learn this knowledge? Greetings from Argentina. Hey, sir, nice summary, man. Yeah, I mean, purely the liquidity games, and also how I use my ranges. So based on key highs and key lows, and giving you a view of where the next draw on liquidity is everything I learned from Crypto Trooper. So yeah, I'm not sure if you heard of him, but that's what I learned from him. And then I also learned a lot from Trader SZ in his group. So yeah, those two guys are literally legends. Make sure you check them out. What do you mean by OTE? So OTE stands for optimal trade entry. Okay, and what that means is, yeah, it's fully based on FIB levels, right? So the 0.62 level and the 0.79 level are two key FIB levels. And if you take the mid-range or the midpoint between those two FIB levels, so between this one and this one, you get the 0.705 level, and that's what we call the OTE, so optimal trade entry. And how you use it is, for example, if price is trending up, okay, and it's coming down, you want to take the low of the rally towards the high of the rally and look for longs on a retrace into OTE, okay, and then look for continuation from there. Of course, you never want to blindly buy that. I mean, I'm always saying the same, right? But you always want to be looking for confluence around those levels, right? So as I explained right here, you had confluence with this key level, you had confluence with demand right here, and you had confluence with a key high, key low, sorry, being right above that area. So that's why I said if we see a sweep of this low into all of those key levels, that I would be looking for longs. It's this one, sorry. So yeah, that's what I did, right? And it's exactly the other way around with shorts. If price is trending down and it bounces, okay, you want to take the OTE from a swing high to a swing low and then look for shorts into OTE. But once again, with confluence, a key high, for example, say a sweep in there with premium spiking, funding, can literally be anything. Even if you trade with RSI, the more confluence, the better. So yeah, that's what OTE is. Don't you look for formations at all? I'm trading this as a rising wedge. No, I never use patterns or anything like that. And for sure not fractals. Fractals are a meme, by the way. How do you use open interest? I never use that, sir. Thoughts on alts at the moment? I mean, alts are doing pretty good, right? I took a long on Theta today, but I'm already out since I didn't trust this consolidation on Bitcoin. And if Bitcoin would have nuked here, I would have not only been stopped out of my Bitcoin long, but also on Theta. So I wanted to take some profit on Theta to be able to stay in my Bitcoin long. But yeah, alts are looking good in general, in my opinion. What exchange do you trade in? Is it connected to TradingView? Thanks, man. Learning a lot from you. I trade on Bybit for Bitcoin. So Bitcoin is fully on Bybit, alts on Binance Futures, and Forex, commodities and indices on PrimeXBT, the sponsor of the video. El Romano, hola. I think also it's good to look at the liquidation price zones, especially calculated from standard deviation extremes. Exactly. I also subbed to High Block Capital. So yeah, I definitely look at them as well. But as always, you just want to look for confluence. So on this idea I had back here, the sweep of the low into all of these areas, we had a clean liquidation cluster around here. Okay, so a lot of levels here and a lot of levels here. So that even added more confluence to the idea of longing a sweep here and targeting the other side of the cluster, right? But yeah, I definitely look at them. Can you do ETH? Yes, I will. How much leverage do you use? If this is a prank, good one. If it's not, leverage doesn't matter, bro. Yeah. Leverage literally doesn't matter. It's all about your size of your position, managing your risk, calculating how much you would lose if your stop gets hit, right? And not about the leverage. I use cross leverage, by the way. Do you close your website? No, I still have my website. What RR do you aim for? I'm always going for higher probability plays and lower R trades. I mean, it's not that I go for low R plays, but I will always take a higher probability lower R trade above a lower probability high R trade. Okay, and why that is I mean, there's no point in using like very tight stops and then getting stopped out 4 out of 5 times, right? And instead I just like to take it easy and enter low risk with a wide stop, giving it room so I can manage the trade manually. I also barely take a full stop out most of the times. If price is going in the wrong way, I just manage it and close before. But yeah, I mean, in general, I think I wouldn't take any trades under 1.5 R, but above 1.5 R with high probability is fine for me. Really learning a lot. May I ask, what are your risk management rules? In summary, is fine. Yeah, I mean, yeah, the risk management is such a big topic that I can't really explain that right now, but you definitely should be looking at it, right? You always want to be risking around the same percentage of your total capital, and don't risk 50% of your capital in one trade. But I mean, I can't explain everything of that, or yeah, that would literally take hours. Respect the pump. Exactly. Risk is what matters, and the pump matters too. New website URL in George Twitter bio. Yeah, it's below the video as well, by the way. What's your average win rate? I have a link to my API connected CMM account. You can find it there. Do you have spot backs or just get in and out of cash? No, I hold spot Bitcoin, of course, and I recently, I mean, I also have a big bag of Ethereum right now, because I think Ethereum will start outperforming Bitcoin rather soon. But speaking of that, let's take a look at Ethereum right here. So Ethereum, pretty much the same view as last week on the higher time frames, this key range we were watching. So aggressive downside, and this was the first low where we saw the bounce. High made, okay, so that has a range high. Levels pivotal on the lower time frames. Just going quickly over this, marked this order block right here that led to the downside and was resistance on the way up here. Okay, so nice confluence around there. And then if we zoom out on the 4 hour, zoom in, sorry, We saw that the downside here got kept by that level. Okay, so now zooming in, as always, let's remove this and this for now. You always want to be marking out key highs and key lows. So we have fairly equal highs right here. This was the initial low of the dump. Okay, so aggressive downside. From this low we saw pretty good bounce, equal low bounce, so massive amounts of liquidity below there. Swept or deviated below, upside, equal high, downside, perfect retest of the key level. Okay, then a lower high. People see this, by the way, as a lower high. What I mainly see here is more liquidity being built up to the upside, right? But anyways, then swept the lows again. Okay, swept the lows again, and now, yeah, it's consolidating within these two swing points. So draw on liquidity definitely to the upside. Just like with Bitcoin, to be honest, if we go for a sweep of the highs, reject, come back inside the range, okay, that would be a short towards range low again, and potentially even towards Monday low right here. If we start breaking above the supply that led to the breakdown, so right here, start breaking above here, then I think we full send it towards new all-time highs. And I think, to be honest, that scenario is much more likely than rejecting here and going for new lows. What I could see on Ethereum is something like this, where we sort of trap shorts by rejecting here, right? And then everyone is like, oh, it's gonna go for new lows, but then we just bounce from here and then pump for new highs. That's a very good possibility of that happening as well. But yeah, in the short term, expecting more upsides towards these clean highs, and then the reaction there will be key. OTE around here as well, so sweep into OTE, rejection, that would be most likely be a short, although I don't really like taking positions like this. So that clear as well. As for higher time frame targets, always the same, use FIP extensions from the high to the low. Targets like this. Prices, right? So what I'm targeting with my spot bags of Ethereum is 2.2k and 2.7k. All right. No love for dot spot bags. Nah, I mean, spot alts, I do sometimes buy some spot altcoins if the higher time frames look good, but I try to, yeah, maximum one, like, except for Ethereum and Bitcoin. But I'll take a look at DOT in a second. What would you consider a trade that is low RR but high probability? Well, that fully depends on the context, right? I mean, for example, on the trade I entered here, I mean, it's 2.3 R. You could say this is low R, but this was a very high probability trade in my opinion. And why is the probability that high? Because the confluence around the levels was so high. We had this level, yeah, I mean, I went over this already, right? We had so many levels lining up right here, and a key sweep of the lows and liquidity draw to the upside. So that just makes that the trade high probability. what I don't understand why people use Binance, for example, ETH up, Litecoin up, trade Bitcoin up. When Bitcoin goes down, these pairs go down 5x. I've never traded those before, so I can't say anything about them. And yeah, I don't get that either. But I mean, it probably will have some advantages, but I also prefer just trading the charts. Please have a look at your friend GeorgeDep. Yeah, I mean, fuck that coin. I'm literally never touching it again. I longed it 3 times and then fucking never pumped. But anyways, I'll do DOT after this, by the way. So GeorgeDep, pretty interesting coin. Key range that I was watching was this one. Deviated below the lows. Into mid-range, retest while sweeping some lows on the lower time frame. So I thought it was ready for range high from there, okay, in here. But yeah, we nuked below. I mean, it's also because Bitcoin dropped hard, but anyways, we came back down all the way down for these lows in here, okay, and currently reclaiming range low. So I ideally want to see some more confirmation for this one, because I mean right now it's just been making lower highs, lower lows, lower low, lower high, lower low. So could as well be a lower high and then go for another nuke. So what am I waiting for? This is the sideways price action that led to the downside. So if we manage to get back above there, then I think it will be ready for higher, which lines up perfectly with the weekly open and the monthly open confluence, right? So if we do something like this, start consolidating in this area, then I think it's ready for a pump higher. First target mid-range into last week's high, and then second target right here. But first, I want to see a little more than this. Close the daily here and see its strength tomorrow, and I might look for a long. Although I don't really trust this coin. George, is trading what you do for a living? Yes, sir. Phil, but the same way. Yeah. You look for confluence for each trade. If you had to break confluence into 3 points, what would they be? I mean, what? I don't get your questions. Don't just ask questions to ask questions, right? I mean, I just explained what I was watching. Okay, dot first. Right. Yeah, so dot looks really, really good. So key high, former high right here. That got swept. Downside. Okay, so this is the high that got swept before we saw the downside, right? Then we pumped above this, consolidated, came all the way back down around this key level, lining up with this demand, okay, and sweeping some lows, reclaim, retest, and now it's just pumping and going for new highs. So I think this is just gonna break out and go for higher. And yeah, first target I would be looking at would be here and here. So yeah, targets in price discovery always use, I at least always use the 1.618 and the 2 fib level. So $12 next, $13, $14 next, in my opinion, on this one. How could you trade this? I mean, I would never enter a long on a chart that looks like this. Why? Because then I would enter here, I would have to place my stop most likely below demand and the daily open, and then first target would be here, second would be here. Okay, I mean, that's not really the risk reward you want to be looking for. But if it comes down now, so it just made an equal high here. If it comes down now and maybe retest this or last week's high, last week's low, or the daily open lining up with this demand, okay, then I would definitely be looking for a long. Stops below here, target up there. See, that's beautiful. That would be a beautiful trade. But yeah, not sure if we're gonna get that. Did you check the link today? Nope. Link. So key range, swept lows, reclaim. Swept some more lows right here. Yeah, it looks pretty good. But what I would be waiting for here would be a reclaim of the weekly open lining up with range high. Or maybe even for this. And then I think last week's high and this level is next. Okay, so this key high. And then, yeah, we'll probably go for new highs. But let's start off on a fresh chart, right? And mark out all the key levels. So last week's low, last week's high, all-time high. Yeah, I mean, this weekly just looks like it's gonna get sent, right? Daily, equal lows. But yeah, I don't think we're gonna get down there anymore. But if we do, a scenario would be, so we just swept yesterday's high. If we come down and go for these lows into this demand, that would definitely be a long. If we see strength right after, breaking market structure on the lower time frames, trade it back towards higher liquidity and all-time high. So that's the first case. Second case, I mean, it's on the lower time frames, it's making higher highs and higher lows, right? So if we reclaim the weekly open from here, I think it's going for new highs. If this weekly open rejects, then I think it's more likely we at least test the daily open again, maybe then go for new highs. Below the daily open, then probably sweep last week's low. And then it's the scenario I explained first. Nice confluence on that scenario with the monthly open, by the way. But yeah, that would line up with Bitcoin going for Monday low as well, probably. So yeah, more likely that this goes for new highs from here. Can you use your system on the 1 minute? I never trade on the 1 minute. I trade on, I mean, you make your plan on all the time frames all the way down to the 15 minutes. And yeah, my entries are mostly on the 15 minutes, hourly, something in between there. Learned a lot about range trading thanks to you. Very glad I found you on Twitter. What kind of indicators do you watch when the price is trending on the higher time frames? Glad to hear that. Ichimoku MA, no, I never use those. I mean, I don't use any indicators except for this one, key levels, which simply marks out the weekly open, monthly open, daily open, well, all of these, last week's high, stuff like that. And the premium index, which gives you the difference between spot and futures on Bitcoin. So only use that on Bitcoin. And yeah, except for those two, I never use indicators. Why don't you use volume? I mean, because volume is such a scam. Volume is the biggest scam ever. How do you know the volume is real? First, and secondly, I mean, wait, indicators. Right, how can this help you to give you a trade? I mean, I don't get people using volume, to be honest, but yeah. I mean, if you mean this indicator, by the way. I never use volume. Lol. SNX. Yeah, I mean, this has just been making, I'll take the Binance chart. This has just been making new highs over and over again, right? So, I mean, nothing much you can analyze on this, but let's take a look. Starting on the daily, yeah, I mean, it already made a new high. So swept the low, previous day's low right here, as you can see. Swept, retest, and then went for new highs. Key high right here. So that was a range we've been trading in on the 4-hour. Let's see on the hourly. So what would I be looking for if I were looking for longs? We have clean lows right here and right here. So then I would want to see some downside. We have demand around here, lining up with this consolidation, by the way, as you can see. Nope. Okay. So what I would want to see then is some downside from here, take out these lows in here, and then a strong reaction, reclaim, and then go for new highs. So that would be a setup I would take. So then look to long here, stops below here, and targets new highs, something like this. Unless it just goes from here, of course. But yeah. I learned trading the range. Keep it up, man. Also, is it possible to get aces to your key levels? Those are for my group, unfortunately. Did you already looked at Bitcoin? Yes. I started off with Bitcoin, but you will be able to check the live stream again after when it's finished. Looking nice for a higher high. Volume can help with identifying a breakout. Usually volume decreases when consolidating, and you will see a slight increase in volume that can be used as confirmation. Yeah, I mean, I'm not saying it can't help, but I mean, respect for people who use it, respect for people who use Elliott waves, respect for people who use fractals, but I just don't think any of those work. I mean, for me, they don't. And if anyone can trade profitably with those, I mean, just go for it. But I just don't. Let's see what Bitcoin is doing. Bitcoin breaking out. So yeah, playing out nicely. But if you think Bitcoin is going higher, at least for now, why do you want down movement from SNX? I would just open long from here. It's pretty much on somewhat support. No, I'm not saying I think it's going down. What I'm saying is that if I, because you ask, right, if I had to take, to give my thoughts on this and to discuss what trade I would be interested in, that's when I'm saying, if we see some downside, big if, right? I'm not saying it's going to, but if we see some downside and come down all the way down in here, then I will be looking for a long here to trade it towards new highs. I'm not saying I think this is going to happen, but if it happens, then I'll take it. And that's also what I do with Bitcoin and what you should do with every pair. Make a game plan. And yeah, know what you want to see before entering a trade. Know what you want to see, and then if it happens and you like what you're seeing, the probability is high enough and the risk reward is there, go for it. And why wouldn't I market long SNX here? Because if I were to long this here, for me my invalidation would be below here, and yeah, as you can see, that's just horrible RR, so that's why. I'm just quickly gonna check if my TP is set on Bitcoin. All right. Bitcoin 4 hour above 50 EMA. You still have a spot open in your group? Yes, sir. How about your RSR trade? Starting to look good for entry. Bitcoin rising. So RSR, yeah, I mean, I closed it for a loss. This one I longed yesterday, right here. I think it was something like this. Stops below here and targeting new highs, but then I didn't like the look of Bitcoin. I think it was before Bitcoin swept the lows, so before this dump. So then I decided to close it for a loss, of course. But yeah, I mean, it's just in a range, right? And I still very much believe that it's ultimately gonna make its way towards here, unless it makes a clean break back below range low. Something like this, then it's most likely first going for lower demand around here. But as long as we stay above here, I think it's going for this area. How do you determine if it's enough liquidity? If enough liquidity is swept below or above a trend to start, or if another sweep is necessary? So what you want to be doing is always start off on the higher time frame. So on a clear chart, start off on the higher time frames and mark out those highs and lows. Okay, so highs on a daily are going to be more important than highs on the 4 hour. Highs on the 4 hour are going to be more important than highs on the hourly. And then you also want to be looking what highs are the most isolated. And what I mean with that is this high, for example. We came from here, so the closest other high is this one, and on the other side it's this one. So you just know there's gonna be a lot of stops above here. All the people who shorted this move all the way down to here have their stops above here, right? So this high is gonna be very key, while this one is less key because it's so close to price action from here, right? If you take a look at this high, let's remove this. If you take a look at this high, right, you could say it's key, okay, but if you zoom in on the daily, the high is gone. So yeah, always go for the most key highs. And then how do you know if the sweep is enough? I mean, as soon as price goes above it, how much? I mean, yeah, that's just personal preference, I guess, but something like this even is enough to just quickly take out stops and then reverse. Or deviate above and then reverse. And yeah, if it makes an equal high, that's not enough, of course. That's just building up more liquidity to the upside. So if if this happens, for example, we go for Tuesday high but make an equal high and then drop and go for Monday low, that would add even more confluence and probability to the idea of going long here or down here. Because then you even have equal highs right here, Monday high unswept, unswept high right here. So yeah. How much leverage do you use? Cross leverage, but leverage doesn't matter. Bitcoin, should I set a stop loss on Bit and ETH when I go to sleep tonight? I mean, why wouldn't you set a stop? I mean, for leveraged plays, right? I always use stops. And especially when you can't manage a trade. Spot, that's a different thing. I mean, on spot plays, why do you hold spot, right? Because you believe Bitcoin is gonna rise in the long term, right? So then price action in a week even doesn't matter. But on trades like these, you always want to use stops. What's the long short trigger after a sweep? I mean, that's such an open question, I can't really answer that. What's the trigger after a sweep? It's about a whole picture, right? It's not just short a sweep here, short a sweep here. No, it's short a sweep if it's a sweep, if it's into a key level, if it lines up with supply, if funding is spiking, and if all of those line up, then it's a short, right? That's the same with everything. RSI, a divergence, don't blindly buy that. You can even use divergences in my strategy, right? It would just add confluence, right? If this was a bullish divergence, the probability wise of going long here would even increase because it adds confluence. RSI. No, it's not. But anyways, I don't really use RSI. Well, never, to be honest. What confirmation on the 50-minute chart do you look for to take an entry once high time frame requirements are met? Well, like I just explained, that's not an answer I can give you, to be honest. That's such an open question, and it depends so much on the context and on what I'm watching. If it goes above here, dumps back below, right? So that the liquidity above the highs is swept, and all of those factors I just named are lining up, then I might take a short here. And I mean, also something people are so much focused on is getting the perfect entry and thinking that price is gonna do exactly what your teacher or what the books or what the websites with educational stuff say, right? But that's not true. In reality, you're never gonna get a perfect, like, if someone makes a squiggle that does this, right? You're not gonna get this. You're gonna get this, right? So it's not that everything is so much different. And that's where confluence, probability, all of those things come together, and the context about the trade gives you, yeah, the ID. And do you mind? Wait, what do you think about waves? Also, 11k Bitcoin came today to exchanges. 44k was out from exchanges. For the last 30 days, I mean, I don't really mind. Yeah, I don't really mind. Also FA, I don't really care. I just trade a chart. And by the way, if that was the case, premium would be spiking. If spot was selling hard, premium would be spiking more than this, in my opinion. Premium is decreasing, as you can see, on the move up. I mean, that just tells me that this ain't done yet. I think we at least go for Tuesday high, and then I think we'll make it towards weekly open and Monday high. But yeah, let's see. Do you mind sharing us your Bitcoin spot TPs? I personally think 100k is high probability and a magnet for price. So spots, I mean, I use, do I still have this? No. I mean, for spots, the only way calculating spots spot targets is by using FIP extensions, okay, and just copy pasting them above, or using a key range, right? So this range, for example, and then you copy paste it above, copy paste, right? And then you want to be watching these levels. So yeah, that's how I do that. But yeah, I mean, 100k Bitcoin is definitely possible in my opinion, yes. Can you show us some of the last trades you took and you think are interesting, and explain upon a little bit? I mean, that will take a little bit too much time, I think. Can you shortly explain premium? Premium is simply the difference between spot exchanges and futures exchanges, the difference in price. If spot is leading, so if the spot price is higher, then you know, while price is going up, then you know that the pump is backed by spot, so by real money, and that's healthy. If it's led by futures, then it's an unhealthy pump, and that goes along with funding. By the way, if funding is high into the positive, shorts are getting paid, so that means that futures have led the pump and are trading above spots. It all goes together, right? Forget spots too late. Is it possible to use the premium index? That's for my group, unfortunately. Do you hold anything as a hold position, or do you only trade? Well, like I said, I hold Ethereum and Bitcoin at the moment. Oh, and a small EOS bag, by the way. I'll talk about EOS in a second. So those three, but yeah, mainly Bitcoin and Ethereum. How many trades do you make per day in average? Per day, I mean, let's say like 4 or something per week. I mean, I don't really have numbers on that. It's also when people say, do you have a goal for per month on R, or a profit goal, right? That's a bad way of thinking, because the setup has to be there, right? You don't want to be saying, I'm gonna take 1 trade per day. No, if there's no setup, you shouldn't be taking a trade. A tutorial about sweep highs and lows, please. I have a shit ton of educational content in my group, bro. So EOS. If you simply compare EOS to Ethereum and Litecoin, and Bitcoin, of course, I think this is lagging behind massively. So we've tested this mid-range 3 times now. Unswept range high, supply. So in my opinion, all this is just accumulation before a run up to the highs. So that's why I bought some spots, because I don't want to be long on this, because then I have to pay funding. But yeah, and I know the owner of, or I don't know, left or something. But like I said, I'm trading the charts and nothing else. Been sitting on a bag of... Icon. But one fucking bot ruining all icon trades on Binance. I mean, not sure what you mean with that, but let's take a look. Yeah, this looks very good. So this, you could see this as a range. So key low, key high. As you can see, beautifully tapped the mid-range right here. Now we retested some lower demand. Yeah, but ideally I'd like to see one more down sweep. Why? Because clean lows, and I don't like taking longs when you see this. Okay, so what I would want to see here is some downside, okay, into lower demand, and then a reclaim, and then it looks good for higher. Unless we reclaim the mid-range from here, then that would be a trade towards range high as well. Okay, just very short. That's what I'm watching. Break below here. Yeah, I mean, this is gonna be big demand. Yeah, if it gets back below here, then I think we have a long way to go down. But yeah, then we'll probably sweep these lows and reverse pump this back up. ETH Bitcoin, yes. Okay, so that's gonna be the last chart. If you have any more questions, please type them in the chat now. Not requests, by the way. So ETH Bitcoin, two key ranges. I mean, I explained this in the previous one, right? So demand right here, so sideways price action here before this leg up. Now we came back down into that area while sweeping these lows. Okay, beautiful. Made a new high, swept these highs into supply, and now we're seeing some downsides. But yeah, this looks just like it's gonna make a monster move to the upside, in my opinion. Low swept into demand and clean highs above, not only here and here, but also all the way up here. Okay, but I mean, that's a little early, but first targeting this high, then this key range low level, okay, right here. And if we reclaim this all the way up to the highs. So yeah, what we're seeing now, it's just some downside. I wouldn't be too worried about this. Let this range a little. Let's mark out last week's low. Zoom in a little. If we get this, a sweep of last week's low, okay, which is this level, into this key level, and then a reclaim of this, reclaim of here, I mean, I think it's just gonna get sent. So yeah, I'm pretty bullish on Ethereum. When would you enter an ETH trade? Well, I have a good bag of spots, so not really looking for longs on that. Then I long Bitcoin instead, because I mean, I just know Bitcoin a lot better. I know exactly what I want to be seeing on Bitcoin and not really on Ethereum. I've never really leverage traded Ethereum, to be honest. In your educational content, you talk about drawing range between the first candle after a trend and by first sweep, high or low. I see you drawing a range from top to bottom of a trend pattern. When to draw which one? I mean, it fully depends, right? If on this one, for example, trend is down, this is the key high, key low, sorry, that led to the good bounce in here. And then from this high, we went lower. Okay, so 2 key high and low. Well, 1 key high, 1 key low, so that's a range. Yeah, I mean, I don't really know what you mean. If you have, what I mean with that is if you have a trending environment and you make a key low and then see a decent bounce and make a key high, then this is gonna be your range low and this is gonna be your range high. Okay. Right, but I'm going to head off here. So I hope you enjoyed. Thanks again to PrimeXBT. Check them out in the description. Also, there's a link to my website and my Twitter if you don't follow me already. Also, please like the video. And I'll see you next week. All right, take care.